I know I'm a little late to the party, but after what happened with Pokemon Legends ZA releasing a second trailer with tons of new footage, disrupting the video I was working on at the time, I thought it'd be best to wait it out for the Mario Kart World Direct, and, well, we didn't exactly learn much about the game, but it did offer a few clips helpful for today's video. And what is that, you ask? Well, if you're as excited for this game as I am, you may have watched a ton of videos going over the tracks that we'll be getting in this game. But to be a bit more original, I thought I would try to piece this world together and see how all these tracks fit onto our new map and what overlaps we might see. To be honest, my original idea was to find as many of the intermission routes that we see in the Grand Prix as well as throughout Knockout Tour. However, even just tracking down all these Grand Prix tracks proved to be quite the time sink. That said, if you'd be interested in this, make sure to drop a like and let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to take a crack at it, but I'd rather get these videos out in a timely manner. So, we'll just be taking a look at the Grand Prix for today. If you watch my recent Pokemon videos, I promise I'm not trying to become a map guy. Or am I? No, I promise. But when it comes to open world games like the new Mario Kart, I can't help myself. There's nothing better to discuss. So, let's get started. Unless this is the first Mario video you've watched, we've all seen the Mushroom Cup. The Nintendo Treehouse did a huge favour for me and showed off the whole Grand Prix. We start in the west with Mario's Circuit, which takes place within a semi-arid desert amongst large mushroom-shaped mazes. We see that the start of the Grand Prix use the classic 3-lap structure like previous games, which will actually cause us problems later. Next, we find ourselves travelling east towards the coastal city, Crown City, where once we've arrived we take one lap around. Our third track is Whistle Stop Summit, which requires us to travel back west past this rail yard and across the river. Finally, we are taken southeast to one of the lowest parts of the map, DK Spaceport, flying across to the island where it's situated. I would like to show off all the cool details of these tracks, but maybe that's best saved for when we actually get our hands on the game, so I'll be keeping to this pace for the rest of the video. The second Grand Prix of this game is the Flower Cup, which takes place along the westernmost section of the map, through the desert and up to the edge of this volcanic region. We start with Desert Hills, our first classic track. While this track and the last are exclusively retro and new tracks respectively, later we will see this format greatly mixed up. Next we move towards Shy Guy Bazaar from the 3DS. This track was actually one of the most annoying for me to find. Following this we move eastwards, then straight north to Wario Stadium. Lastly, we move into the volcanic region and fly over to one of my favourite tracks from the DS, Airship Fortress. There's actually a really cool part of this stage that you see when approaching the track from Shy Guy Bazaar, but like I said earlier, that's probably best for a future video. The Star Cup is luckily another Grand Prix that we get to see in the Nintendo Treehouse, and actually looks awesome. The Grand Prix starts with DK Pass, set on the other side of the map from our previous two cups in the snowy mountainous area. Next, we move further up these mountains to the Comet Observatory. To the Comet of. To the Comet of. God, I can't say that. To the Comet. To the Comet. To the Comet Observatory. To the Comet Observatory inspired Starview Peak. And then, while staying high up, we travel along these icy paths to Sky High Sunday, a track we recently saw from the 8 Deluxe DLC, but properly revamped. We are then taken down to the ocean, through this ravine and out to the stormy waters of Wario's Shipyard, or Wario's Galleon if you're like me. We've now made it to the Shell Cup, the source of all my problems. To find these tracks, I've had to scour through tons of footage people have recorded from their time at the Switch 2 events, because a fair few of these are missing from the trailers. If I'm lucky, they are playing the track on the TV and have a nice camera angle, or I've had to deal with awkward angles in handheld mode. Now, I'm sure I haven't seen all the footage out there, but I've had some help from the wikis and other people's videos. From all this, I believe that some of these tracks are split between the demos on the handheld and docked setups. These demos allow you to play a random track, including their intermissions from the Grand Prix. This means we don't actually see the starting tracks, since they consist of 3 laps and no intermission, which I guess is what these demos are trying to show off. That said, although we haven't seen the first track for this cup, we at least know that it will be Koopa Troopa Beach, made up of Koopa Beach 1 and 2 from the SNES. Next, I had another slight problem. The second track of this cup is Faraway Oasis, which we know from the trailer, but I've had a little trouble with the intermission track. During my research, I found 2 different intermissions heading towards Faraway Oasis. The problem then becomes placing them. This is because I'm unsure where they are racing from. I've decided that this is our intermission track though, since by aligning our other track with the following track, which we'll get to, they seem to line up with Peach Castle and Koopa Troopa Beach respectively. Moving on, we find ourselves travelling across this large bridge, ending up back in Crown City. However, this time we actually have a new layout. Finally, we know the last track is going to be Peach Castle, but yet again I was unable to find footage of this from any event. We'll be coming back to Peach Castle though, because like Crown City, this is another track that is used again in a later Grand Prix. But for now, I'm going to take a little guess, by using this in-game shot of the map where we can see a route winding its way north from Crown City to our destination. For the Banana Cup, we start on Peach Beach, which, whilst we get to see the reverse version of our next track from the trailer, we don't get any footage of the track itself. We then head across this land bridge, along the beach north to our second track, Salty Salty Speedway. Our third track is going to be Dino Dino Laboratory, where we have to travel to the most southern point of the map to this remixed version of Dino Dino Jungle. Finishing up, we head east and towards the skies for the last track of this cup, Great Question Block Ruins. Once again, we start with another track we still haven't seen the map for, and that is Cheep Cheep Falls, situated just north of the Banana Cup. We then head further north to another new track, Dandelion Depths. In fact, this whole cup is formed of new tracks, our next being near the top of the map and one of the coolest designs for a circuit, Boo Cinema. After that, we go west, cutting through this jungle and towards the volcano we saw earlier in the Flower Cup, finishing up this cup with Dry Bones Burnout. The final cup that we know of is the Lightning Cup, and this is definitely an odd one. We start, for some reason, in Moo Moo Meadows, situated in the centre of the map. Following that, towards the southwest, we make our way to a remixed version of Choco Mountain from the N64. Next, we travel north to another strange pick for such a late cup, Toad's Factory. Then, last but definitely not least, we head past one of the battle stages and journey to the top of the volcano where you'll find Bowser's Castle. Now, if we were to just take what Nintendo gives us and assume there are only 7 cups, then we would stop here. But due to some very unsubtle hints, and the fact there are still 2 stages left on the map we haven't been to yet, that leads us to the obvious answer that there is indeed a special cup. We also have confirmation of this from the demos. At the end of each race in the demo, we get presented with the trophy assigned to each Grand Prix, and although what we've seen isn't like the special cup from previous games, at the end of one of these races we've been presented with a presumably new version of the crown representative of the special cup. This leads me to believe we'll start the Grand Prix at the northernmost part of this map, with a new stage, Acorn Heights. We then head south through the same forest, crossing the path we saw from Boo Cinema to Dry Bones Burnout. This ends up at Mario Circuit, which consists of circuits 1, 2 and 3 from Super Mario Kart. Once again, we head far south, past Moo Moo Meadows, crossing a large distance back to Peach Castle, which we previously raced on in the Shell Cup. Seeing as the second time we went to Crown City, there was a different track, we can assume Peach Castle will also have another route. However, since we never saw the Shell Cup version, we don't know what it looks like, and are left with this Special Cup version. This cup will presumably end with Rainbow Road, as it has always done in past games, unless they decide to pull some trick on us. Maybe we even have the order of the tracks from the last couple of cups wrong. However, this is a very safe bet, and we will probably have to wait for the game's release to finally see Rainbow Road. And that's every track for Mario Kart World's Grand Prix. The varied selection of tracks from classic retro, remixes and brand new makes for an exciting looking game, especially since they managed to seamlessly fit it all onto one map. To be honest, that's probably why we see such a random mixture of these tracks in each cup. but seeing as they've put quite a lot of effort into sprucing up each and every track, I can't complain. I'd love to come back to this game for another video, and probably will once it comes out, but if you want to see me take a crack at every track from Knockout Tour, or go even further with every possible track, as we've seen, you can select almost any route to an adjacent circuit, and since we have a pretty decent view of the whole map in game, it might be feasible. Please let me know what you think in the comments and drop a like, and if you enjoy Pokemon stuff, I have a few videos up on the channel talking about Legends ZA, as well as another one planned for next week. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you then.